0 issues since I started doing this. Can you explain this gap in your resume? No, I signed an NDA. Yeah, what are they going to do about that, right? 16 and 17-year-olds should not have their paycheck taxed because they can't vote. Taxation without representation. You know, I never thought about that. I have a master's degree, 16 years of experience, work 2 extra jobs, and donate blood plasma to pay the bills. I'm a teacher in America. Oh, it's awesome. So cool. What's the biggest lesson that employment has taught you? Efficient workers got punished with more work. Yep, that's why so many people have taught themselves and trained themselves over the years to do literally the bare minimum to meet expectations. Because if you're a great worker, cool, you get to do a bunch more with nothing extra coming your way. Maybe people who meditate for an hour / day are happier because they live a life that affords them an hour / day to meditate. Yeah, that's how that's always worked. People that have crap tons of money and don't have to worry about anything at all in the world are the ones that think they're full of life lessons for you. Well, they have the money and time to do whatever they want and experience whatever they want. So of course they think they're smarter and more learned than yourself. I could die and my job would get a Ouija board and ask if I got someone to cover my shift. And they would have 0 problem with it. There would be 0 problem in anybody's minds doing something that freaky. It sounds outlandish, it sounds stupid, but I guarantee you someone would actually do it. Tell employees we can't afford to pay more. Brag about record profits. Literally every single company. I'm so done with this petty asinine bull. You guys are not allowed to be eating and or snacking for free if you're not upper management, which are general manager, DM, J, Jim, or ops. If I catch you eating my food, it will result in termination. There are no more call-outs or call-offs allowed without a doctor's note turned in after the 3rd call-off without an excuse note. It will result in termination. Oh no, I'm gonna get fired for f***ing Carl's Jr. Oh no! It's not like I can't walk across the parking lot to McDonald's, get better pay, and not have to deal with your bullshit. No, I'm not saying McDonald's is good. They're terrible too, but I guarantee you I'm going to be making more money working at McDonald's than working at this hole run by a jackass. Straight up. Bankers earn more than teachers and nurses, and I couldn't tell you a single thing a banker has done for me. But I can name a million things that teachers and nurses have done for me. Thank you for your encouragement, commitment, investment, involvement with driving sales and beating plan by $6 million. You're very appreciated. So I know for a fact the managers, bosses, whatever you want to call them, know exactly how awfully stupid this stuff is, how insulting it is, how degrading it is. I love that they do it with a fucking smile on their face. You know for a fact, inside their brain, they probably went, is this incredibly stupid and embarrassing? Yeah, it is. I don't give a shit. They gave me a bonus, I'm giving them a lifesaver mint. The bank says I can't afford a $1,200 mortgage, so I pay $2,000 in rent instead. And it doesn't go towards your credit. Wow! My employer is demanding my newborn's birth certificate, even though I didn't take paternity leave because my employer doesn't offer it. What? More than anything, I want to know why HR is hounding me for it. I took a week of paid vacation off for when he was born. I got a call a few days before I was going to take the time off from HR saying word got to her that I'm having a baby. She said I'm eligible for FMLA. Oh, and she just needs my son's birth certificate. I said I wasn't planning on taking unpaid leave. Her response was, well, send it anyway. You never know. I've been back to work for 4 weeks now, and they're still hounding me for it. I'm starting to suspect my employer gets some sort of tax break if they categorize my paid vacation as leave. What gives? Oh, absolutely they do. They never, ever, ever do anything for your benefit. Remember, HR is not there to protect you, it's to protect the company from any kind of legal troubles or otherwise. HR ain't your friend. Pizza Shop is hiring just non-stupid people. Oh, that rules me out then. A lot of people we've hired just don't want to work. Maybe your place is a shithole? There's no work ethic behind them. So that's the meaning behind the non-stupid. The business said someone called in a fake order of over $100 in response to it. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I will say it so many more times that it might even become a catchphrase of mine. If you can't afford to pay your employees a living wage, a wage that will allow them to live and work for you full time, You do not deserve to be in business at all. You guys should get more labor protections from your government. When I moved from the USA to Germany, I eventually completely changed jobs to a rather large and well-funded German company. The kind of company in America that you'd say, ooh, they'll have good benefits. I asked them during the negotiation phase, so what are the other benefits? I didn't see them listed in my employment contract. I did not mean to read that like that. And they looked at me like I was an alien. They had no concept of what benefits were. I asked about healthcare, days off, sick leave, etc. And they told me, we just do what the current regulations enforce, which is unlimited sick leave, 30 days of vacation plus holidays, and we will pay for whatever healthcare insurance you have purchased. It was one of those moments where I really realized how much of a screwed up bubble the USA is. Yeah, I remember the realization too. Oh, it's so good. Leaving without giving 2 weeks' notice changes last check's hourly rate to minimum wage? You know what's funny? That doesn't seem legal at all. I do believe that is against the law. It might depend on the state you're in, but that can't be right. Absolutely not. Geez. $5 is extortion for a pay stub. Wait. All employees, exempt and non-exempt, will be charged $5 per page on the following requests. Are you allowed to charge for something you're legally required to give to your employees? I mean, sure, prior year's W-2s? What? Must be paid in cash and will not be deducted from paychecks. Oh, so you're also committing some kind of under-the-table tax fraud? I don't know about all that one, fellas. American, I have 2 jobs and still can't make rent. We need a living wage. GOP, living wage? Go to college. I can't afford tuition. Ask your parents. They're still in college debt. Get a job. I just told you I have 2. I'll be born rich next time. Yeah, stupid. Don't have any money? Why don't you just get more, moron? Handcuffed and jailed at 93 years old in Florida for not paying the rent at her independent living facility and refusing to leave once evicted. How do you have the heart to evict a 93-year-old woman out of her house and arrest her for not paying rent when she's too disabled to even work and can't make any money? Y'all really some heartless animals. Oh, that's putting it real lightly. I don't have much information on this story. This could be completely fake. You never know, right? But I totally believe it's real because here in America, stories like this, 99% of the time, they're completely true. I mean, hey, nearly 600,000 homeless people that we treat as animals. It's great. Of course a story like this would be real. So weird how nobody ever asks how we pay for the endless wars or the billions in tax breaks we give to the richest people on Earth. But the second someone mentions policies to vastly improve millions of lives, Grandpa breaks out the fucking abacus. Of course he does. F*** you. He got his. That's the unfortunate part about that, dude. Sometimes your grandparents, that's their mindset, man. Sometimes it's a screw you, got mine situation, you know? And, when you get older, you don't feel like you have to give a about people anymore sometimes. A new Iowa bill would roll back child labor laws, allowing 14 to 17-year-olds to work in mining, meatpacking, demolition, operating guillotine shears, and other dangerous jobs. Under the Business Back bill, employers wouldn't be civilly liable if kids are injured or killed. We're literally going back over 100 years. We're just straight up winding the clock back. I'm starting to feel like CEOs and executives of companies, behind closed doors, they're wearing like 100-year-old suits, smoking giant cigars, wearing monocles, big-ass top hats. They just don't want us to see them for who they truly are. Fucking cartoon villains. That is straight up all these people are. No such thing as a good CEO, in my opinion, man. Bizarre study finds pizza motivates employees more than cash bonuses. Why money isn't all that great of a motivator, and why pizza is. Who wrote this? Who wrote it? Because I would like to find them and kick them so hard in the crotch that their ancestors feel it, dude. A nurse from Wyckoff Medical Center in Brooklyn. Oh boy, please don't call me a hero. I'm being martyred against my will. You are being martyred. Ain't that the truth? Good lord. A homeless man in New York City would regularly order an expensive dinner at a restaurant and refuse to pay for it to be sent to prison where he would receive 3 meals a day and a clean bed. He refused to commit more severe crimes to get longer sentences as he did not want to hurt anyone. Weirdfacts.org. Well, if this is indeed a fact, wow, it does get worse. Oh, imagine thinking your only option is to commit crimes so that you can be imprisoned so your life gets better. It obviously doesn't, or there wouldn't be so many protests around the world right now. Young laid-off workers need to know that shutting up has value. You know, it's so funny, Mr. Gus Carlton, because you don't seem to understand that shutting up has value. So maybe you should take some of your own medicine and shut the f*** up. Sex work is real work, unlike being a landlord. Oh, dude, I have never met a single landlord that does anything they claim to do. Oh, I'm on call 24/7. No, the f*** you ain't. Shut up. You call your boss in the morning to say you will not be in due to not feeling well. Your boss wants to know specifically what's wrong with you. What do you say to make your boss instantly regret asking? Oh, dude. That's a really personal question. Can we keep this conversation professional? And if they push it, oh, my penis is bleeding. Did you want pictures as well? I wouldn't do that. They might be able to call that some form of sexual harassment. They'll do anything to not look like the asshole in the situation. Disney just announced that its theme park made $2.1 billion in profit in the last 3 months. Yet the company recently said their best offer for workers at Disney World, who are paid so little that some live out of their cars, was a $1 raise. 97% of workers voted to reject it. And that's at Disney World. Can you imagine living in Florida, which has, I'm pretty certain, a lower cost of living than where I live in the middle of the country, and you can't afford to live there because Disney pays so little. Now, at Disneyland, it makes more sense because they're living in Anaheim. That place is so expensive. But holy crap, Disney, not only are you ruining your freaking parks, but somehow you're making more money than ever off of them, and you're not sharing that at all. Who are you giving a lot of that money to? Oh, is it because you needed Iger back because Chapek was such a goddamn loser that he nearly bankrupted a certain side of your company? Okay, he didn't actually almost bankrupt anything. You can tell the Disney thing is very near and dear to my heart. Anyway, you Disney. Grad school's doing illegal stuff. From Twitter, from a friend. Dear Temple student, as a result of your participation in the TUGSA strike, your tuition remission has been removed for the spring semester. You now owe the full balance listed in TU Pay, which is due by Thursday. The full balance? If your balance is not paid in full by the due date, you will be assessed a $100 late payment fee, and a financial hold will be placed on your student account. This hold will prevent future registration. For your convenience, you can make the payment online by clicking here. We gotta start burning places down that do this type of crap. No billionaire has ever worked as hard as someone who needs 2 jobs to make rent and has to go home and take care of their kids and clean their own apartment. Not even close. Well, yeah, most billionaires, started pretty rich from birth. People almost never talk about how lifestyle creep when you begin to make more money is not so much spending on luxuries, but rather all the life maintenance things you couldn't tend to before that end up being really expensive, like dental work or car repairs. Dental work. Remember, they're luxury bones that should be expensive. I want to be rich means you want to get rid of the alarm clock. You want to leisurely spend time with people you love. You want to stop worrying about the rent or whether you can buy healthy food. You want to be able to help. You want to do more of what you love. Basically, you can take all of that and say you want to live life because people enjoy working. There's nothing wrong with that. If you like working, dude, that's totally fair. Good on you. It gives you something to do, might help you get a sense of purpose, whatever. But humans are not meant to stock shelves at Walmart until they're 94 years old. We should be allowed to live life more than 3 weeks a year. Oh wait, here in the US it's 2 weeks a year because that's really all you get. And no, I don't count the weekend days off, your 2 days off that you normally get over here because that's worthless. It's worthless. CEOs are hugely expensive. Why not automate them? If a single role is as expensive as thousands of workers, it's surely the prime candidate for robot-induced redundancy. Yeah, they sure are useless. I mean, look at that CEO of Twitter. Oh, no, wait, he's a genius. I received this email from my company today. They're holding a company picnic, and we're expected to pay for all of it. How would you personally handle this? Wait, hold on. Our second annual company picnic will be held at blank amusement park. An amusement park? Tickets are $25 a person. There will also be a lunch meal that will be $12.72 per adult and $9.54 per child. Lunch meal will be blah, 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 blah. Why are they hosting a picnic in an amusement park? I mean, look, if this amusement park has more expensive tickets than what they're offering right here, then it could be a benefit, I guess? You know what I mean? Like, oh, tickets are $25 a person. We're hosting our picnic in Disneyland. Then yeah, dude, you're getting a deal, all right? But when these workers unionized, their cafe was put up for sale, so they bought it. Cafe workers, we're unionizing. Owner, oh, lol, then I'm selling the cafe. Proceeds to buy the cafe and turn it into a co-op. Oh, that's awesome. Genuinely surprised the owner was like, yeah, I'll let you guys buy it. I'm sure they made out pretty decently, but I mean, oh, can you imagine doing that though? Epic play. Epic play on everyone's part here. Bravo. Just bravo, dude. With exploding technology and increased worker productivity, it's time to move toward a 4-day work week with no loss of pay. Workers must benefit from technology, not just the CEOs. Well, yeah, here's my problem with the 4-day work week, though. And it's not that it's 4 days. My problem is that they're going to go, oh, no loss of pay? No problem. Now your shifts are 10 plus hours. Cool. So on those 4 days, I get to live even less of my life. Sure. The 3-day weekend? Beautiful. But oh my God, brother in Christ, I'm so tired of this. Now, should I send this email after a bad screening call? Is it worth potentially losing an opportunity? I would like to respectfully withdraw my application following my negative experience speaking with your colleague Sandy. Sandy arrived late and unprepared. The bare minimum level of professionalism I expect from a recruiter is to respect my time and to have read my CV before the call. To then be asked whether I would accept 20,000 pounds less than the expected salary I set out, when all Sandy knew about my experience and expertise was the 30-second summary I'd just given her, was insulting. I found the entire tone of the conversation belittling and condescending and centered around pay, and it's left a sour taste in my mouth. I'm disappointed, as I applied because I'd heard good things about you as an employer. However, I don't think I can continue in this process with a company that has made me feel so undervalued at the very first interaction. Haha! Thanks a lot, Sandy. A woman makes $80,000 selling nudes on OnlyFans to pay for cancer treatment. Yeah, we'll just leave this image up on screen for the next, 10 hours just so you can read it again and again and again. It really sums things up quite nicely.
10 hours later.
Next level micromanagement. As stated in the job description, we require an IP camera setup to provide a live video and audio feed of your workplace during the shift timings. Are you comfortable with this setting? No. You can take that and shove it up your ass. No, you can print this particular question out, roll it up, and just shove it right up there. Absolutely not. I was in an accident due to California blizzard. Oh, right. Stranded overnight in the snow, no cell service. My boss's response. Oh boy. Are you okay? Was another vehicle involved? Where are you currently? Yeah, I'm okay now. There was a car under a tree with a semi parked in front of it. I slid on the black ice into the semi and ended up with my car resting on the guardrail. Well, gosh. Glad you're okay and sorry about that. Did you have to seek medical care? If you're okay now, how come you didn't report to work or blah, blah, blah? Oh, guess what? I quit. 6 signs you'll be a billionaire. You grew up rich. You have sociopathic tendencies. You only care about yourself. You love exploiting workers. You're great at union busting. And you receive government subsidies. So I and a few others on the schedule are being punished for something we weren't even on site for. Is this wage theft? A $5 off register for yesterday. I think it's time to take all bonuses off the table until this store can learn to balance registers. Yeah, if you weren't there, no, that is wage theft. And I guarantee you nothing was wrong with the registers, but I mean, what are you going to do? Call them out on it? World's largest 4-day workweek trial finds few are going back. And about 1 in 6 employees in the study said no amount of money would convince them to return to 5 days a week. Even puppers get it. What has your pet accidentally conditioned you to do? One of my dogs has several barks. A play bark and a squirrel bark and other dog things that are normal dog barks. He also has what we call his emergency bark. The emergency bark is what he does when he thinks there is serious danger. It's extremely loud and makes us jump every time. He usually reserves it for things like the time I fell down the stairs and he scream barked for my husband to help, or when someone's in our front yard, or when he cornered a possum in the backyard. However, since my husband started working from home, the dog barks his emergency bark at my husband if he tries working past 4 p.m. My husband has now learned to stop working at about 3:50 every day to avoid that jarring sound. No paid sick leave for you railroad workers either. Meet the CEO of Norfolk Southern, Alan Shaw. His net worth is at least $11 million. He lives in an 8,000 square foot mansion. He poisoned a small town for profit. Let's make him famous. Oh, CEOs. Start sharpening them guillotines, boys! For legal reasons, the joke I just made is indeed a joke, whether or not you find it funny. So, no, I'm not actually calling for, well, I mean, come on, think about it, seriously. Inflation will remain sticky for a decade, and Gen Z and millennials are to blame, an investment chief says. Hey, Gen Z! Welcome to the blame game. We're still on the board. The millennials are still on the board here, but look, we're gonna slip off here pretty soon, and then they're just gonna start blaming solely you, okay? That's what the boomers do. And yeah, the boomers are still around. Gen X is turning into them, though, completely. Gen X is completely turning into just as bad boomers. And it sucks, so we'll truly never be rid of them. A 10-day general strike would accomplish more for the working class majority than a century's worth of elections. It would represent an immediate momentum shift by bringing the capitalist behemoth to its knees. Our true power is in our collective labor, not in a voting booth. Interesting list for minimum wage pay and outdoor labor. If you answer yes to any of the following statements, please don't contact us. You're grumpy in the morning. Your favorite place is under the covers in your mom's basement? You're afraid of heights. Don't try to fool us on this. We will know right away. You're a victim, a whiner, or complainer. You smoke at work, you do drugs, or you drink heavily. Okay? You look like a tattoo parlor experiment gone wrong. You can't lift heavy stuff without sustaining a back injury. I love that. I love that one in particular because you know they had an employee that nearly broke their f***ing back, and they just got so pissed off that someone would have the audacity to get injured, right? Or you're a wuss when it gets too cold or too hot out. I hope these people go out of business. Guys, help! I told an employee he sucks, and now he says we aren't BFFs anymore! How to handle distant employee after performance review. So, I recently gave a poor performance review to an employee, and he's since working much faster. We started a deadline and daily check-in system. Did you start paying more? But has become much more distant. He always eats with the team, but now claims he has to go somewhere on his lunch break. He usually suggests coffee with me in the morning and has abruptly stopped. It seems like he's avoiding me and sitting as far away as possible from me in the office. He's also stopped abruptly dressing up for work. It's not compulsory, but he's usually coming to the office in a suit. When I talk to him, he's still polite, however. How would you handle this? I'd stop being such a little bitch. They want a cashier who's a college graduate, has a diploma, transcript of records from the university, 20 to 30 years old, minimum of 5'2", and the salary to be minimum wage. For a cashier job? For a cashier job. Dude, when I worked for Target, they force-trained me as a cashier, even though that wasn't my main job, and it took them 10 minutes. 10 minutes of training to be a cashier. Dude, you have got to be completely f***ing with me right now. There's no way in hell. Oh, and minimum wage too? No, if you're wanting all these qualifications, including how I physically f***ing look, yeah, you know what? How about $50 an hour, bitch? How do you feel about someone who does the bare minimum? Oh, you mean their job? Sit down. We need to talk to you about quiet quitting. Yeah, that's great. I love the bare minimum. So wait, I'm doing my job exactly as you trained me to do, exactly as I was hired to do, and you need me to do more. Okay, then we're gonna change the job title, we're gonna upgrade the pay, we're gonna move things around a little bit, and then I'll do more. I will do what is required. Suck it. Just had a call with someone on Forbes 30 Under 30 list and came away really impressed. He shared with me how he made VP at a top tech company before 30. All right. 4:30 a.m. wake up, cold showers, gratitude journal, meditate, dad owns the tech company. You know what's great? This tweet is fantastic, by the way. If you want to see someone put their money where their mouth is, you should go watch Curtis Connor's video about how he lived like a billionaire for an entire week. Yeah, it's bullshit, but you should watch it. I am the only customer service rep scheduled today for a $20 billion company. Oh yeah, I've seen this one before. I wouldn't be doing anything. Then if I did decide to take any calls, oh, I'm taking my sweet in time, dude. The great resignation is now the great regret. 80% of job hoppers wish they hadn't quit their old roles, with Gen Z the most regretful. Liar. You are lying. That is not true. Good God. Minnesota House passes paid sick and safe time bill for all workers. I employ 4 people full-time. How am I supposed to run my business if one of them takes advantage of 24 weeks paid leave, and I'm required to hold their position during that time? What if 2 of them take advantage of this leave at the same time? What? Oh my God, I can't do it here, man. Sometimes I forget that Elon Musk has always been a privileged rich kid, and Elon Musk's daddy owned an emerald mine, and Elon Musk walked around with jewels in his pockets, and Elon Musk didn't start Tesla, he just ousted the founders, and Elon Musk has never invented anything. Sometimes. Boss is tired of all the complaining. Good morning, ladies. So I've been hearing a lot of complaining lately. Let me make this very clear. If you have a problem with the wage you get paid, please feel free to have a discussion with me. The wage you all receive is fair, wrong, especially when it comes to house parties, etc. If you have a problem with me and I hear anyone speak about me negatively, this will result in loss of shifts and/or job. Wow, you're admitting to cutting people's shifts. I see a lot of you just say, I'll fire you, but I've never seen someone say that I'll quiet fire you. That's what we should start calling it. I've heard so much crap being said about other staff members and myself. I will absolutely not put up with this going into busy season. It stops now, or find another job. I don't know what these ladies do for a living. I don't know what this is, what the job is, but I feel like there's a lot better out there for them. Told my boss I quit, and he's not going to pay me? You can't just not pay me because I didn't show up. That's illegal. You've lost and damaged more than you've earned. Oh, this is where he's going to make stuff up. Do the math. I said you're just as responsible for ensuring nothing happens to property, and Zach has no issues paying $200 of the charges. I'm charging you $60. Then my $125. And the damages you and David cause are going to be split. After all that, blah, 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 blah. Thanks for it in writing. Yes, I can. It's not illegal, and I told y'all when you started, if you don't show up, I'll charge y'all what they charge me. You're welcome. Thank you, too. Labor laws, bro. Dude's going to be in trouble. Gen Z's not lazy. They're just refusing to put up with the toxic work culture that boomers created. Yeah, and they're going to be the really successful ones. The millennials have been trying for a while, not as successfully as we would have hoped. But Gen Z, I got hope for them, man. They don't take shit. The rising economic tide. Profits are up. My compensation has doubled. Look at me, I'm walking on water. Wages are flat. My buying power is shrinking. I'm not even treading water. Yeah, they are intentionally drowning you. It works. 92% of companies keep it. Burnout down by 71%. Sick days down by 65%. Revenue up 1.4% on average. No question about it, the UK's 4-day week trial was a huge success. It's time for the 4-day week to go mainstream. Good luck with that over here. Employers think that their employees, again, are subhuman. It's just a lot of that attitude going around. The upward redistribution of wealth over the past 40 years has shifted $50 trillion from the bottom 90% to the top 1%. That's $50 trillion that would have gone into the paychecks of working Americans. The greatest trick of all is trickle-down economics. Who conceptualized trickle-down economics, I wonder? Whose idea was that? It's that easy to be a billionaire in the USA. Finland ended homelessness. They provide a small apartment and counseling with no preconditions. 4 out of 5 make their way back into a stable life, and guess what? It was cheaper than allowing homelessness to continue. Good luck trying to be a billionaire over there. I'm pretty sure they have at least one. I was literally in Finland this Christmas, a couple months ago, right? I was there, and I thought that this little factoid was overstating things. I thought, oh really, they got rid of all homeless? I doubt it. I went to several cities in Finland, and not a single mother on the street getting glares from random people because they don't have a place to live. Not a single one. I was blown away. Utterly insane. So cool to see. Good on you, Finland. Activision just announced the removal of work-from-home options and is denying applications for working from home permanently to people with disabilities. Mass walkouts ensued, as they should. Oh, Activision, you are such a company. Thank you for reaching out. As mentioned on today's town hall, Activision is requiring employees to return to office, beginning April 10th, 2023. Our working model for Activision QA in El Segundo, Austin, and Minneapolis requires employees to be in the office 3 days a week and work remotely 2 days a week. Why do they want that so badly? The expectation is for employees to be within a reasonable commute to the office they were hired for. As a result, there are no permanent remote work opportunities within QA. And it's within QA too? Good lord, whatever, dude. Guess who no longer works at home? Got pulled into a meeting today with my boss and was informed that I'll be required to come back to the site permanently, even though I was hired as a work-from-home agent. She asked if I had any problems with that, so I told her I don't have a car and I live 30 miles away. Her response was to say the company's not required to take into account your transportation needs. Then she just hung up. I don't know what I'm going to do. I know what I would do. Instantaneously quit. They don't even deserve notice. To be fair, most companies absolutely don't deserve notice, but holy crap. And yes, I know that just quitting your job on a whim is not a luxury that most people have, but what's the alternative here? He literally can't continue the job. Because I can't decompress at home? You need to detach and psychologically recover from work, professors say the solution: commuting. Yeah. For most American workers who commute, the trip to and from the office takes nearly 1 full hour a day. 26 minutes each way on average, with 7.7% of workers spending 2 hours or more on the road. Many people think of commuting as a chore and a waste of time. Yeah, because it is, and it's super expensive. It doesn't matter how long the commute is. It takes more of your energy, more time out of your freaking life. You don't get paid for your commute, which you should be, especially if it's that long. They're so stupid. Cassidy, read that again, but slowly. Hi, Cindy. I see on your availability that you aren't available until 8:30. For this Friday, could you be there an hour before your availability time, Pod? Such a change. All right, 2009, $690 a month. Minimum wage, $7.25. 2023, nearly $1,200 a month. 2023 minimum wage, $7.25. This is what 56 hours nets you at $8 an hour. Employer is exempt from overtime as a movie theater. Wait, what? Really? 56 hours get you $400. Most people get paid, twice a month? So what is that? Oh, you can't afford rent anywhere in the goddamn country. Screw eating, dude. Forget that. I remember when I first moved to Colorado, I made $8 an hour. Yeah, it was so cool. Managers didn't communicate my day off for Easter. Now I suffer for it. Why did you not come to work? I told Shalaya last week I couldn't work Sunday. I'm with my family for Easter. I'm sorry, you didn't request time off, so you will be documented. I 100% requested off, I told her, and submitted it in the next app after telling her. I'm sorry, telling her you can't work isn't requesting off. He just said that they submitted it in the app. What? There is a scan code in the crew room you scan and fill out and blah, 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 blah. During training, they told me to use the next app for requesting days off, but all right. No, don't but all right. Keep it going. Little boss man is mad. He makes the schedule 5 hours before the start date. Employees were approved their time off over a month ago, but it's a problem now because management forgot. From now on, no one can request days off anymore. I will do the schedule. If you don't show up, you're automatically fired. That's not how this works. Time for just a quick little story. I remember going to an IHOP one morning when it opened around 6:30 a.m. Up sleep schedule, doesn't really matter. I think this is my favorite occurrence at an IHOP ever, where the manager was running around frantic and pissed off, and I was trying to figure out why, but I did overhear the conversation, and my server ended up dishing out to me a little bit, which was really cool. The manager was pissed off that a cook just had not shown up. It was their cook for the morning, and she didn't show up. Where the hell was she? And it turns out that the manager literally didn't schedule her. He had plenty of time, looked at the schedule, realized he did not ask her or tell her she needed to come in. She was not on the schedule at all. Said that 3 times now, so you know what it means. He's dumb. Or just forgot, whatever. But then, when she finally showed up because he frantically called her and said, "Get the f*** here now," he blamed it on her. Yep. Someone said, I think I did hear this. It was great. One of the servers said, "Well, you didn't put her on the schedule. What's the problem?" And he said, "Oh, that. She knows. She knows." Like, dude, you shouldn't be a manager. You are a psychopath. So we're just forcing feel-good stories now. 2 women at a Texas Denny's realized it was short-staffed, so they jumped in and started cooking. We just looked at each other and it wasn't even a question. I'm sure that the employees were super grateful because, their manager sure as wasn't going to help. I'm certain of that. Boss didn't hire new employees because of their hobbies outside of work. The title really says it all. We interviewed a candidate today for a position, and my boss says she's not a good fit for the company since she likes to game outside of work. How do they know that? Did they tell them that? If I'm going in for an interview anywhere, I don't tell them anything about me personally. Oh, sure, they'll ask questions, like, what do you think your greatest weakness is, blah, blah, blah. But nah, dude, if I play video games, you don't need to know that. F*** you, we're not going to be friends. You're paying me. My boss states that he wants a well-rounded person and doesn't want someone who plays games when they go home for the day. Oh, right, because when they go home for the day, they should continue working for free until they die. Right, no, that's what he wants. My old job closed down for good. This was one of the reviews. Food is good, but the hygiene in this restaurant is really bad. Talked to some of the staff, and apparently the owner treats them very harshly. Thank you for your feedback, but our restaurant meets the requirements for hygiene certification given. When did you visit us? And from the camera, we haven't seen you talking to our staff, but you talk like you know our restaurant better than we do. You said this place closed down? Thank goodness. Pretty remarkable that America temporarily constructed a safety net during COVID, including major healthcare coverage, food benefits, anti-poverty funding for families and kids, etc., and then just systematically and slowly demolished it. From what I recall, it wasn't that slowly. Company owner decided to stop paying his drivers, so one of them parked their semi on the owner's Ferrari and just left it there. Man, if I can't make enough money to pay rent or feed myself or my family or my cat or anything like that, and you show up to work with a Ferrari, you bet your ass I would rather go to prison than see your dumb face driving that around like you deserve it. From the New York Times, I agree this would have sounded unbelievable years ago. Are we actually arguing about whether 14-year-olds should work in meatpacking plants? Oh my God. Amazon CEO made $212 million in compensation in 2021, while the typical worker received $32,000. That's a ratio of 6,474 to 1. Now, we learn that the company spent $14 million on anti-union consultants. Don't tell me that Amazon can't afford to let workers join a union. They could afford so much. How does this stupid thing work? First, you scan the barcode, but it doesn't scan. Oh, that's weird. Why do I have to do this? It's about convenience. How is this convenient? The store is conveniently saving money on staff. I mean, complain all you want about those. I do like them. Having a set or two sets of the self-checkouts is a very smart idea, because people like myself who buy 1 to 3 things at a time don't need to wait 45 minutes to check out and leave, because, again, even before the self-checkouts, Walmart never had more than like 3 goddamn people running the checkout stands anyway. So it would always be backed up and messed up. So now Walmart's been doing this even before self-checkouts. We can't blame the whole thing on self-checkouts. We really can't. They weren't getting paid any more before or making any money more before. I don't believe it, dude. Micromanaging boss wants to weaponize CCing HR, so I'm weaponizing state labor laws. Good morning. According to the State Department of Labor and Industries, I'm required to submit a doctor's note for absences meeting or exceeding 3 consecutive days. However, according to Absence Tracker, only 2 of my absences were due to illness, as March 30th was a pre-approved personal holiday. As such, I will not be providing a doctor's note for those days. Thank you for all that you do. Don't include that. You don't have to be thankful. Productivity paranoia needs to stop. A worker quitting a 6-figure job so she won't have to return to the office full-time says she's a victim of her boss's productivity paranoia. I don't need to be in the office to do my work, but they want to control you, so you have to go back. My old company wants to sue me for not providing password information 4 years after they fired me. I was the manager of a network engineering team for a medium/large size for 20 years, and I was terminated in 2019. We had various passwords for routers depending on the line of business the routers belonged to. My team had the administrative password stored in a secure electronic vault. Fast forward to last week when something got into the routers and locked everyone out, and now they need the administrative passwords, but apparently the vault was taken offline and removed 2 years ago. Apparently, half their business is at standstill and they can't make payroll until this is fixed. They called me demanding the passwords, and when I couldn't produce them, they wanted to sue me. What a bunch of assholes. First they fired me, and then they want to sue me 4 years later. Laughable. Only in America. As if it's your fault. Oh, too little too late, guys. I'ma get fired. Ladies and gents, this is starting as of today. I get it. We all forget every so often to clock in or out. But going forward, if you consistently forget, I will forget to pay you until the following payroll. To me, one of the most important things is clocking my time in and clocking my time out. I cannot make it any easier. Just do it. I swear I'm not trying to be obtuse, but I'm in law school, so whatever. The withholding of wages for the reason of disciplinary action is illegal. It very much is. Yes, that is correct. And let me see here. Oh, I forgot to clock out last night. Cool, you don't get this entire pay period's money. Sorry. Millennials didn't kill the economy. The economy killed millennials. The American system has thrown them into debt, depressed their wages, kept them from buying homes, and then blamed them for everything. And on top of it all, we have AI coming for their jobs so fast you have no idea. There is no teacher shortage. There are thousands of qualified, experienced teachers who are no longer teaching. There's a shortage of respect and proper compensation for teachers, allowing them to actually teach. Due to rising temperatures, more workers are dying from heat than ever. So cities have mandated that construction workers get 10-minute water breaks every 4 hours. In response, Texas Republicans are now trying to pass a bill that bans mandatory water breaks. Whee! Would you look at that? Bernie Sanders to Howard Schultz. Have you ever threatened, coerced, or intimidated a worker for supporting a union? Schultz won't answer no. I've had conversations that could have been interpreted in a different way than I intended. That means yes. Sure, legally speaking, can't really get him for that, but that does mean yes, I hope you know. A huge study of 20 years of global wealth demolishes the myth of trickle down and shows the rich are taking most of the gains for themselves. Shall we all pretend to be shocked? I'm going to be fired on Monday. I run a small bar in Michigan. I run said bar in everything except pay. I have a general manager who works on average 10 hours a week. I have an owner who I've never seen do a single thing other than drink Busch Light by the gallon. The tips are even good enough that I don't complain about being paid $6 an hour. I now find out that we're closed Monday and Tuesday for spring cleaning by the staff for $6 an hour for 10 hours for 2 days. Myself and the other night bartender have said absolutely not, and we have been told we will be terminated if we do not show. On the bright side, this has given me a week to job hunt, and boy, there are a lot of opportunities out there right now. I've already had 2 interviews and have another 2 tomorrow, one of them during the hours I'm scheduled to work. Wouldn't you know it? I think I feel a cold coming on. I want to hear your thoughts on this. In South Carolina, if it matters. Buc-ee's. Yep, let's see. $18 an hour, that's what you're starting at. Food service car wash, 21. Team lead, not bad. I hate that range though. Just make it 22. Make it a little dollar difference. Why not? Or you know what? Even better, just make it 23. Department manager, for God's sake, that's an even bigger jump. Full-time 35 to 50 hours though. You will probably never work less than 45 hours a week. I'm just saying, that happens all the time. No experience necessary though. And then, once you get into the managerial parts, you are making very good money, Imagine being a car wash manager making $125,000 a year and knowing where Buc-ee's exists? That ain't too bad, okay? That could be worse, for sure. They give you a 401k, 6% match, 3 weeks paid time off, use it, cash it, roll it, blah, 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 healthcare, part-time available, and you get $2 extra an hour for overnight. This right here is what you love to see. I still have minor nitpicks with it, but Buc-ee's knows where it's at. The only real mega downside that I have heard about Buc-ee's is that it's so goddamn awful strict working there. If they catch you with a phone out, they'll just fire your ass. Or they'll have some guy take you out back and beat you with a wet towel for 2 hours or something like that. That's the only thing I've really heard. Employers sent communication that they would punish us if we had to take shelter from a tornado, even if only a few minutes. Wow. Okay, we work from home. Normal office job. We have a severe weather warning in our area. Tornado alley, yay! And we received communication today that if the sirens go off and we see a tornado or inclement weather and we need to take shelter for any reason, we will be punished. Even if it's only 10 minutes. Any time away from our desk to seek shelter will be punished. Is there no way you can submit a class action lawsuit to companies like this? There's no way it's legal to tell employees to, literally, you are telling them that if they don't risk their lives or put themselves in explicit danger, you will punish them? That feels like a lawsuit. It has to be, bro. We'll make a better world for our children. We'll make a better world for our children. You entitled brats. It shouldn't be you entitled brats. It should be you, got ours. Although, if we go back to that first photo, I don't think that they wanted a better world for their children, because these are the parents that threw their kids into the coal mines. I'd say the middle ones, probably. Apparently, we also didn't need to wait for it to crash. All we needed to do was work for it. Millennials are cheering for a housing market crash. Yeah, you're right. And I can't wait. No one wants to work anymore because there's no reward. Half of us are living paycheck to paycheck. No saving for retirement. No saving for a house. Straight up 2 paychecks away from living on the street. Yep, maybe all of us at once should stop participating and really just grind this to a halt right now. What do you say? Being unemployed, having a job. I love the modern era. We'll be 4 horsemen deep into the apocalypse and still going to work. Boss, why were you late? Me, a lake of fire swallowed the freeway. I feel like you're not considering how this affects the team. You're right. I don't care about the team. Nobody wants to work anymore. Personally, I've never wanted to work. Yeah, I do hate the anymore part of that. Nobody wants to work. Okay, well, to be fair, some of us do. We just don't want to work until we're dead? I've been reading a lot about how desperate employers are to get employees back in the office and how cities are desperate for return to office because Otherwise, downtowns will die. And the problem is, I have yet to read an explanation of why that is the workers' problem to fix. It's not. We know it's not. They like to put everything on our shoulders. It's the only way they survive. That's what happens when people can't afford to get married in the traditional way. David's Bridal laying off over 9,000 workers. Yeah. What does the average wedding cost in the United States? I don't know how close this is, but according to some study, couples who invited 50 or fewer guests spent an average of $14,000 on their wedding. Those are the small ones, guys. Wow. A man has applied to the job advertisement welder, $15 to $30 an hour. During the welding test, he made 2 test welds shown on the pictures. The potential boss asked, "What's going on?" The man replies, "The upper one is $15 an hour. The lower one is $30. Yeah, if you have the skills to pay the bills, make sure whoever's actually paying you to pay the bills is doing it appropriately, all right? You want to pay me not enough to live? Then I'm going to make sure your welds suck ass, dude. That's all there is to it. We're returning to the office because our culture is so important. The culture, soulless, beige, tan, peach, whatever the hell, office cubicles. I think the worst part is, I've worked in an office like this, except we didn't have the luxury of our cubicles actually belonging to, like, us. It was completely open. You didn't get your own. I grow coffee. I refine coffee. I package coffee. I brew coffee. I literally collect money for doing nothing. Oh, yeah, but they're the genius that came up with the idea of doing this. How it feels to be alive lately. That'll be $70. Okay. Yeah, and some people out there are trying to defund and get rid of libraries. Teenagers are being banned from malls. What the f*** are we supposed to do? My boss sent me home early and clocked me out early, so I had to bust out the union contract that states I'm to be paid for a full day regardless. Thank you for that. But on Friday, I only have 3 hours recorded. I understand you sent me home that day, but per section 22.6 of our contract, employees are to be paid for a full day if they're sent home. Yeah, and I bet he got real pissy over that too. They told me hard work pays off. And here I am, 2 years at this job, making 50 cents over minimum, with no raise, no benefits, living paycheck to paycheck, working myself to the bone, literally, and going home tired and in pain every day. Then you need to quit. If you're working something that makes your hands look like this and you're only making 50 cents over minimum wage and you don't get any benefits whatsoever, go work at McDonald's or Walmart for a little while until we bust this down. Wow. Don't need a job that bad. Unreal. Governor of Arkansas, who gives a rat's ass, is now requiring applicants for positions in the state to write 500-word essays that detail what they admire from her leadership. This is not North Korea. This is not parody. Which word would you use to describe Sanders? I wouldn't use any words to describe somebody that I don't respect. And you know what? Didn't she and her, what would you call it, administration also just repeal a bunch of child labor laws? You creepy garden gnome. Oh, there you go. Garden gnome. It's not one word, it's a couple, but still. Hot take. We should raise the minimum wage to $17.76 an hour, then rename it Patriot Pay. Force them to say they're against Patriot Pay, huh? French refuse, that's the word. Collectors have now been on strike for 18 days after their government raised the pension age from 62 to 64. Whether you agree or not, they're not going to let their government walk over them. You know, I'm wondering something. This seems to have been going on a while. Has this been settled yet? Because I see crazy protests in France. You know, the French are the best at this. And yet, I still see news headlines saying that they sent this age increase through anyway. Where the f*** do they get off? Do the French have to bring out the guillotines again? This needs to happen everywhere. Normalize letting people eat their lunch alone if they want and decompressing for 30 minutes to an hour without the pressure of being considered antisocial in the workplace. Yeah, I'm really tired of work friend culture. If you don't talk all the time, you're weird and antisocial, and that's aggressive. But if you do talk all the time, like I do, you're f***ing weird and I don't like you because you never stop talking. The f*** do you want? Memo to the media. Please don't say inflation is at a 40-year high without also mentioning that corporate profits are at a 70-year high. Give the people the full picture. McDonald's last week asked corporate employees who usually work from the office at least 3 days a week to do the job from home. The plan was to lay off hundreds of employees, and the company preferred to deliver that news virtually. Of course it did. A coworker's last day was Friday. He didn't retire, just decided to take a month off and find another job after. I should record the morning meeting and send it to you so you don't feel left out. Please do. Well, we got tacos at least. Millennials say it's inappropriate to have a work wife, but most Gen Zers and boomers are cool with it, poll finds. Yeah, I personally didn't have one, but all my buddies that worked at Comcast did. You need that buddy. You have to have a buddy. When the rich rob the poor, it's called business. When the poor fight back, it's called violence. They're trying to get you to fight a culture war so they can hide the class war. They're doing it pretty well, jackasses. $15 an hour is poverty. And I think we need to say that loudly because right now companies use it as a badge of honor. The biggest price gouger ever could definitely pay more than $18. Today, thousands of Disney World workers voted to approve a new contract, delivering an $18 minimum wage this year and raises across the board, plus 8 weeks of paid family leave. Out of over 12,500 workers who participated in the vote, 97% voted yes. It's something. It's something. Because this is Disney World. I know Orlando's definitely more expensive than surrounding areas for sure. 18 still ain't enough, but at least, 8 weeks of paid family leave? That's something. It's not great at all, but you know what? They can do this again next year. Just keep on keeping on, man. As long as they're making billions of dollars off of tourism, you guys should be paid appropriately. At this job, you'll get to work at a fast-paced environment. You'll get to thrive under pressure and be part of a dynamic team. Great. Now that you've outlined the cons, what are the pros? No, really, I'm really tired of employers and recruiters spinning this as a good thing. You'll get to feel like all the time and be stressed out every second you're here, and I'm gonna make sure I could barely pay you. Protect our kids, like making sure they're not hungry. Okay, let's have free school lunches then. Legalize child labor! What the fuck is going on? Damn, I'm kinda tired of living inside a giant pyramid scheme controlled by criminals who gaslight us into believing they're the good guys. Why is it easier to believe that 150 million Americans are being lazy rather than 400 Americans are being greedy? Employer, you'll need to give us 1 month notice when you leave. Me? Nah, you'll notice when I'm not there. Yeah, I don't like that they require that or they'll mark you non-rehirable, but they can fire you at the drop of a hat at any moment without warning or telling you what you did. Is the remote work really working? I'm not so sure. Where were you zooming from yesterday when you were on CNBC? We all know where. I work for a company in California that does a lot of outreach in Spanish. Recently, bilingual employees pointed out this results in them doing more work than their monolingual coworkers, and they requested additional pay. This was the reply-all response to HR's email denying that request. Hello, will this mean we'll be outsourcing for any projects that need to be completed in Spanish? What? I know my girlfriend, the Finnish one that I talk about all the time, is a bilingual, customer service agent over the phone. She doesn't get paid really any more at all. Does a lot more work though, and sometimes she has to work the English line by herself. Awesome. The retirement age is 67. Your life expectancy is 78. Work for 50 years to be free for 11? Does that sound like a fair deal? Of course it's not. They don't give a f***. Resigned my position at a job and got this email in response. Department of Labor said this was illegal. Now, if they don't pay up soon, I'm owed double my wages. Know your rights. Oh yeah, this. They can't do this. Per the terms outlined in the employee handbook, blah, 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 paycheck will be issued at minimum wage. Illegal, paycheck withholdings. None of that makes any sense. Charge for cell phone locker key if not returned. Nah, bro. Give me all the money I am owed. Nice try. If you work 40 hours a week and can't afford a 2-bedroom apartment, what the f*** is the point of working? Companies like Amazon and Walmart, who pay their employees dirt cheap wages while raking in billions in profits, deserve to have employee shortages. They do. What are we gonna do? It's wild that unskilled labor is the labor that society literally collapses without. It's funny how that works, huh? Let's undersell how important it is by calling it unskilled. Of course no one wants to work. There's no reward for living in society anymore. Wow, you mean I can work 2 jobs where my bosses treat me like a machine and the customers treat me like a verbal punching bag so I can make rent in my overpriced suburban duplex and then never have free time again? Ever? Golly, Uncle Sam, I'm not sure I like your freedom very much. Universal basic income. UBI critics. If we give people money without conditions, people will stop working. The UBI pilot. Turns out, the UBI group worked more than the control group. Well, of course giving people more money works, but it costs too much. Turns out the money spent on UBI reduced other costs greater than the UBI. Yeah, but people will stop working. But Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes. I'm literally throwing up at work with a fever, pale as a ghost, and already passed out. Boss says I just don't want to work. As the title says, I'm sick. Have been all week. I'll get fired if I don't show up for my scheduled shifts, and my boss is actually going to try and force me to work for more hours this week too, because I dared to take off a day for being sick as a dog. I don't need to know the rest of this at all. Your boss should definitely be let go. Of course he won't, because that's just not how this works. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, yeah, you've got 2 sick days out of the year, so if you're sick anytime outside of that, I will kill you. That's essentially what we're gonna get you. Man, the retaliation is real across the board. It's bullshit. Let's just scribble that out. Paid vacation. Yay! If I saw that, that would be the first thing I asked them about during an interview. You're hiring today? No, you're not. Sorry, you need to work. I won't be showing up. I'm sick. I gave as much notice as I possibly could. Sorry. Sorry, as I said, there's no one to cover the shift. That's not my problem. I will not be showing up. I'm sick, and I gave notice when I could. No, Rachel, it's your job. You need to work. See you at 2. I don't think Deb quite understands that she doesn't actually literally control this person. She does not have some magical powers that will actually force them to come in. So, no, your little dominatrix roleplay bit that you're doing here will not work, Deb. Good luck with that, pal. As a manager who runs the schedule, it is your job to find people to cover shifts. Sure, the employees can do it, and that's totally fine if they want to, but if they don't, that's not in their job description. Isn't that crazy? And it will continue to cost us billions until corporations understand it. I have an escape door. Younger workers say they need more than a good salary to give their loyalty, flexibility, and service, and it's already costing the U.S. economy billions. Oh, no! Managers didn't post schedule until 40 minutes before our scheduled shifts. What? Is the schedule going to be posted soon? I'm sorry, but I can't come in today. The schedule was posted just now, and I've already got my day going. Guys, I understand the schedule was just posted, but it's the same day. I can't read. But it's the same schedule for most of you who work Sundays. Please make sure to check and make it into work. Thank you. No, it's not their responsibility. You waited until the 11th hour to post the schedules, and you're going to get pissy at them for not being able to show up? Oh, cry about it. Super rich hate taxes. I'm shocked. Super rich abandoning Norway at record rate as wealth tax rises slightly. Oh no! It's something they could easily f***ing afford with no goddamn issue. That's a no for me. You'd like the day off? Yes, please. So you want the day off. Let's take a look at what you're asking for. No. There are 365 days per year available to work. There are 52 weeks per year in which you already have 2 days off per week, leaving 261 days available for work. Since you spend 16 hours each day away from work, you've used up 170 days, leaving only 91 days available. What? You spend 30 minutes each day on a coffee break. That accounts for 23 days a year, leaving only 68 days available. With 1 lunch period each day, you've already used up another 46 days, only leaving 22 days. You normally spend 2 days per year on sick leave. This leaves you with 20 days available for work. We're off for 5 holidays a year, so your available working time is down to 15 days. We generously give you 14 days vacation per year, which leaves only 1 day available for work, and I'll be darned if you're going to take that day off. I don't know where any of these numbers are coming from, aside from there being 365 days a year and 52 weeks in a year, okay? I don't know what you mean by 261 days available for work. Your math is really strange and stupid on purpose, so you can actually wipe my ass. How about that, you know? I mean, come on. How stupid can you be? We know what you're trying to do. Watching The Incredibles and saw this when Bob gets called into his boss's office. No wonder he threw him through 15 walls. Oh wait, what is this? Hold on a second here. I can't, is this I'm trying to read it. 1 second. Yeah, I can't make out what, am I supposed to be trying to read it? Is it like a letter of you're fired or something? I don't know, dude. Oh, here we go. Thank you. I don't know why I didn't assume that someone was going to translate it for me. Okay. To employee from Gilbert Hugh. Due to financial cutbacks, you'll now be expected to self-expense all office supplies, including but not limited to pencils, erasers, pens, paper, stationery, folders, staples, paper clips, brads, and photocopies. All parking will now be metered by the hour. Electricity consumption and all telephone charges will be deducted from your paycheck. The board of directors at InsureCare wishes to thank you for your selfless sacrifice. No, man, they really went above and beyond to make this the worst company on earth. Can you imagine having to foot the electric bill and telephone bill and pay for parking for your goddamn employer? Oh, just imagine how cartoonishly evil that would be. Now that we know that this exists, I wonder which dingleberry at Comcast or another giant, Comcast being evil of course, I wonder how long it is before they do that to their employees. Maximum 8 hours a week. Amendment introduced to limit remote working in Ohio. That would limit workers from working remotely. Okay, let's see. The amendment is inside of the state's $94 what? Excuse me? I grew up poor in the 80s. It beats 2023. My dad worked at a pizza place and my mom didn't. He was the manager or assistant manager. He made and sometimes delivered pizzas. He bought a very cheap house, which today would cost $350,000. Had 3 children, 2 cars. We were always fed, went to the movies, had Nintendo. This might not sound poor, but all of my clothes were secondhand. The cars were older, and some people at school let me know that I was poor. We never went on vacations. We lived in the bad part of town. But 80s poor was so much better than today. I'm old poor, and I know poor, and the way people have to live today is horrific. I've never seen so many unhoused people in my life. The price gouging for cars, rent, and real estate is disgusting. Capitalism is a monster that is actively making our lives more difficult. That is correct. Sure, there might be some benefits here and there, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's just me huffing on some copium or something like that, dude. But yeah, price gouging for everything. MSRP? No, actually, we're gonna triple the price of that car because we think that's what it's worth. It's awful. Unions are why there are fire exits at your work and why the doors aren't padlocked during work hours. That's true. The amount of people that have died in factory fires because they were locked in. Oh man, even if it was one guy, how could you not understand that that's one far too many? Out of the frying pan, into the fire. I graduated from college 8 years ago. I was 28. I refused to go into debt for college, so I joined the military. I kept my grades up, and they took care of me. Hashtag cancel student debt is a slap in the face to many like me. Imagine thinking I had to enter into a situation where I potentially would have died, or maybe would have had to kill others so that I wouldn't go into crippling debt just for an education, is a good argument to maintain that system. Also, imagine thinking that other people have to suffer like you because it makes you feel better about what you had to go through. I understand that what you had to go through was crappy. No one should be forced to join a military complex at all. No one should be forced to do that or feel like they're forced to do that in order to afford education. And it's even worse when they get you so good that you think other people should be required to suffer at least as much as you did, okay? That's the big problem I have with previous generations and their outlook on the world. They want you to suffer like they did, or they think you're an entitled little bitch. And it's ridiculous, and we need to shut that shit down. Ugh. Or go homemade. You will still not afford it, but at least you're now now houseless in peace. Okay. Remember, friend, a $5 iced latte a day is $25 a week, $100 a month, $1,200 a year. After 10 years, that's $12,000, which is still nowhere near enough to put a down payment on a house, so enjoy your espresso in peace. Yeah. I look at numbers like this and realize that being a self-employed person without a 401k or a company that's actually able to provide like a match or anything like that, when I turn 62, I'm probably going to have like $50,000 to my name, which means I'll have maybe a good year of living before I die or have to go back to work. It's going to be something crazy. Nearly 1 in 5 workers are loud quitting at their jobs, a new Gallup poll says, and it's way more extreme than quiet quitting. Damn straight I'm loud quitting. I'm gonna be like that guy that hired like a high school marching band or a college marching band to show up and just blast his boss's face off when he handed in his letter of resignation. We need more of that. You're mistreated? Give it back. Not every job should have a living wage. That's not healthy for society. It's not healthy for someone making ice cream cones at Dairy Queen to make enough money to live off of. You want a society that actually can't live off these jobs. So, how are those working those jobs meant to live? And more importantly, how will I get ice cream at Dairy Queen when all of the people working for them died? I can't believe how short-sightedly stupid that tweet is. Not every job should have a living wage. Jobs that you demand. The fact that you mentioned making ice cream cones at Dairy Queen means you're probably a frequenter of Dairy Queen, whether it's you and the kids or maybe just you. There's nothing wrong with going to Dairy Queen on your own on a regular basis. I've done it before, okay? But a job, again, that you necessitate exists. And I'm just talking like you want ice cream, therefore you are necessitating that someone make you that ice cream. And they do. And you really want to look in the faces of these people and tell them they don't deserve to live. They have to work 40 other jobs. Or they simply just need to become a CEO. Lift yourself up by those bootstraps, bitch. How about that? It costs around $70 to produce a year's supply of insulin. Yet, the average annual cost of insulin went from $2,864 in 2012 to $5,705 in 2016 to $12,000 in 2022. That's a 17,000% markup. That isn't inflation. It isn't supply chain issues. It's 100% corporate greed. Yeah, it is. I found a software error at a company I work for that's costing them about $18 million a year. But I haven't told them that because they told me no when I asked for a raise. It's not like the raise would be very much, even if you did tell them and you saved them that nearly $20 million a year. All they would do on a good day, for real, is maybe give you like an 11% raise or something. Which no, if a single guy saved your company $20 million a year going forward, that's garbage. I'm talking, you're now paying me $200,000 a year. How about that? Because I'm still saving you $17 million a year. At least, man. Applying for tech support jobs, saw this, immediately thought of this sub. Okay. $16 to $20 an hour. Okay. Must have obtained an associate's degree in the following areas: computer science or information systems. Okay. An associate's degree, isn't that 2 years? Must be able to lift up to 50 pounds. All right. Must be available to work rotating shifts, overtime, off hours, holidays, weekends, and be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Oh, and a driver's license. I like that they slot that in the middle there. I'm just going to skip over that and go to driver's license. No. That's not how it works. You're not going to pay me 16 measly ass dollars an hour to be on call forever. No. You know what? How about this? I'll take the job. I just won't have a phone because that's not part of the requirement, is it? I don't see a bullet point for having a working phone. Oopsie poopsie. Oh no. Everyone in a leadership role should read this. Leadership tactics and techniques. Let's see. Leadership versus management. The difference between the two. We refer to leaders as leaders and acknowledge that they have various management responsibilities. You lead people. You manage things. People are not machines, systems, or projects. Well, there are a lot of giant corporations that could absolutely use this advice. I'm just kidding. They literally know about this stuff. They know. They're not ignorant. See, crazy thing, they are run by pretty smart people. They know exactly how they can keep you down, okay? All while making you kind of feel like a person. But yeah, no, they call people managers for a reason. You are a thing to them. They don't give a shit about you. And no, I'm not talking about your little low-level manager that you're probably buddies with or something like that. I'm talking about the guys that run the shit. You know, there's that fine line. Jump above it, and we're in a pretty rough spot. Breaking. McDonald's workers in Oakland have walked off the job on strike. After our store was transferred to a new franchisee, our accrued paid sick leave was zeroed out. We weren't compensated or told. One worker was relying on the paid leave for a hernia surgery. Yeah, I remember working for a UPS store who was actually sold in the middle of me working there. The original owner used to give you raises every 6 months. It wasn't much. It was like 50 cents or something like that, just to kind of stay ahead of that slow creep. You know what I'm saying? Again, not much. I started at $8 an hour. Worked for the UPS store for like 5 years, and by the time I left, I was making 11. Woo! But she was nice. The new guy that took it over, though. Oh yeah, he got rid of that and actually walked back any of the money I made up until Colorado forced him to pay more. I worked open to close 6 days a goddamn week. It was something, and let me tell you, screw that shit. Okay, the worst part is, I was pretty good at the job and didn't actually hate it. A bad manager can take a good staff and destroy it, causing the best employees to flee and the remainder to lose all motivation. When you get your leaders into those positions, you really got to make sure that they're going to be a good fit. I mean, everybody's got to have a probationary period, right? Can you handle the heat and treat people like people? That's what matters. How does this sub feel about remote work? LOL, my husband quit his job after being forced back into the office in 2021. He got a new job that was full remote, became the lead of their new product within 3 months, and is the most liked person at the company, and built our bike shed and 2 new decks during his lunch hours. Everyone I know with remote jobs have declined both mentally and physically. F you. Don't just lie. Don't just make shit up. And you know what? Even if that is true, that's a hell of a minority right there. I've never met anybody who works remotely who is significantly worse off. He meets his coworker who lives in our neighborhood for lunch. We go for bike rides and he runs several times a week midday. I also do remote contract work so we can easily switch back and forth with our kids' care tasks based on who has a meeting or time-sensitive work stuff. He can also take 10-minute naps when something is processing and he needs to wait and can wear his sweatpants if he wants to. This anti-remote propaganda is so silly. It is. I used to have regular day jobs for days, dude. And you know what? Ever since I started working here at EmKay, it's been the greatest experience of my life. Let me tell you, you guys are fantastic. I'm glad you accepted me. Sorry to get a little mushy here. All of you are great. Working with these people has been amazing. I get to live a portion of my dream, okay? It's fantastic. And I want everybody else out there, regardless of their job, if it's possible, to be able to do the same thing, okay? Sure, there are plenty of things that you can't do remotely, and I get it. There's also plenty of people like me who do not mind going somewhere to work. However, you should always have the choice if it's possible. If it is possible. Again, I used to work at Comcast as well. I think I've talked about it here before maybe 1 billion times the last 3 or so years. That job is 100% possible to do from home. But you want to know what? I think they let like 4 goddamn people do that because they, I don't know, sued or something. It's ridiculous. Save yourselves billions of dollars in rent, Comcast. Let people do it from their homes if they want. A Black Mirror episode in which you're forced to rent your labor to a predatory ownership class who then grant you tokens that you trade for basic necessities, including food and shelter. How the actual hell is this allowed? Indentured servitude. Nurses hit with hefty debt when trying to leave hospitals. Requiring nurses to repay for training programs has become increasingly common, with some hospitals sending $15,000 bills. Yeah, okay. Again, I'm sorry, I don't like bringing Comcast out all the time, but I did go through 3 months of training before being thrown onto the floor like I was a dead wet rat, all right? They talk about, and they flaunt it at you all the time, at least they used to, that the average person costs $18,000 to train. Because they also pay you more when you're trained. I was getting $18.30 an hour or so. And then once I was actually working, I went down to $12 and then had to work off of commission. Real cool, guys. Give someone a taste of actual hourly, real money, and then take it away and make them sell phones and shit. Okay. But yeah, they really throw that in your face to guilt trip you. There should be no way that they are allowed to send you bills for that, all right? Hiring people and training them, it's the name of the goddamn game. They don't get to go, well, actually, I'm a minor, and all my requests for my family vacation got denied. What should I do? Okay, so you're a minor. Let's take a look. They denied multiple requests. First request came within a 1 month's notice for only 4 days off. I see they all got denied, but I don't really know what they expect me to do. I'm a cashier and it's my whole extended family vacation that's already been paid for. Okay, edit. I was never planning on missing the vacation, of course. Screw them. Didn't really know if I should just take it and get fired, but it looks like that's probably the case. Excuse me. Okay, yeah, for real though. You are a minor working as a cashier, okay? Just think about it this way. As you said, fuck them. Really, especially if you're, I don't know, I would assume 16, 17, whether you're working at Target, Safeway, I don't know. But if it's one of your first jobs, what do they think you're going to be working there forever? You don't have like some permanent record or some crap. You don't need to list your first cashier job or something as a reference. Screw it. Quit. The way they treat us workers, we don't need to worry about them, okay? They'll be all right, and you will be better off for it. Let them know you're no longer requesting time off. You are informing them you will not be there those days. I agree. If they fire you, so be it. Go get another cashier job because you're young and can work the rest of your life. But a family vacation is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Exactly. There will always, even with the robots, be plenty of cashier jobs or things like that need doing that we could all jump into. You'll be all right. It's totally fine. Don't let them guilt trip you into not living parts of your youth, okay? Don't let them force you to waste it. I think we're asking for too little. 4 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 12 hours for what we will. Yeah. You guys ever play BioShock Infinite when you get to that specific level in the game where you're at the Fink manufacturing company? Everyone's begging for jobs and there's a giant clock that keeps track of sleep and leisure and work, and the leisure portion is like the smallest chunk of the clock. An experimental submarine with some of the richest people in the world disappears. Oh no! Anyway, sake, there's at least one person that doesn't deserve being mocked and treated like shit here in this case. Millionaire, age 23, claims anyone can be rich in their 20s if they stop scrolling, as he calls his generation lazy. Wait, hold on. There's gotta be more to this story, right? Like, oh yeah, my dad actually owns a multi-billion-dollar company or some crap like that. But no, he made me work my way up. This is why there's a rush to get us back to the office. The office real estate crash will be so sharp and deep that Capital Economics thinks office values are unlikely to recover by 2040. Oh no! Maybe we should let people work from home and then turn those office buildings into real housing. You know what I mean? That's just a lot of wasted space for absolutely no goddamn reason, just so they have an easier time controlling you. Just work harder. Gavin Newsom ordered the what? Homelessness and Housing Initiative to find out just how bad San Francisco's crisis is. People are homeless because their rent is too high. The survey found that when nearly 3,200 people lost housing, their median income was $960 a month. For renters on leases, it was $1,400. In San Francisco, $960 a month. You wouldn't be able to make any payment with that money in San Francisco. That place is a nightmare. To those that live there, I do apologize. I hope to God something gets fixed there soon. We've got so much money floating around in the universe. Let's catch one of those comets and mine it. The rental housing crisis is a supply problem that needs supply solutions. The median annual pay during the Great Depression was 22% of the cost of an average home. Today, it's 14%. That means that pay relative to home cost made it easier to buy a home during the Great Depression than right now. This is absurd. Well, I think the very, very first thing we need to do is make it illegal for anybody else, or rather, illegal for anything other than a human being or a family of human beings to own a home. All right? Corporations? No. Any type of company whatsoever? No. Any business? No. Absolutely not. Why are they allowed to buy up 1 billion homes with cash over asking price to entice homeowners to do it? Because of course that benefits them. Why are they allowed to do that? How many homes in the United States are just empty? Literally empty right now. I bet if you looked into it, that answer might kind of freak you the hell out, especially in relation to how many homeless individuals we have across the country. It's funny that businesses are begging for workers instead of just getting those robots we're told will so easily replace us if we raise the minimum wage. We've been threatened with robots for so long now, and it's so funny whenever they do try. I mean, look, self-checkout's been very successful, but you notice that there are plenty of regular lines open at the grocery store still? I mean, okay, sorry, let me rephrase that. Not open. There's usually 45 lanes that 2 employees are working, and I feel bad for them because they have to deal with a line of 900 people. Ron Perlman, the absolute legend. One thing before I get off this video. The who said we're gonna keep this thing going until people start losing their houses and apartments. Listen to me, There's a lot of ways to lose your house. Some of it's financial, some of it's karma. And some of it's just figuring out who the f said that. And we know who said that and where he lives. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. You wish that on people? You wish that families starve while you're making $27 million a year for creating nothing? Be careful, mother. Be really careful, because that's the kind of that stirs up. Peace out. I'd like to thank Ron Perlman for being one of the coolest dudes I've ever seen in my life. Now, he was alluding to a certain man we're not going to name here on EmKay making $27 million a year, but he does indeed apparently run, allegedly, none of this is proven, he does allegedly run a certain goofy or silly, whimsical company with theme parks or something like that I'm a big fan of, unfortunately. But yeah, I can't imagine being a CEO of a company like that and thinking that you're actually worth anywhere near what you're being paid. Because he's pretty I'm a secret shopper that goes in and doesn't rat out the employees. I get paid to eat and always give a positive review. Hell to the yes. I'm sick of big companies trying to spy on employees. Some of the questions are just to find out who is slacking off. They want exact times and such. Even if I see someone not extremely excited to be at work, yeah, that's a question. I say they are. Screw them, and thanks for the money and free food. Thank you. Thank you very much. I've been secret shoppered at some of my jobs. We appreciate you. We are closed due to Alex walking out. We apologize for the inconvenience. You trying to shame him for knowing that he's worth more? I've been yelled at by people. I've been yelled at by family for saying that I am worth more than minimum wage before, because it was considered arrogant. I was very mistreated by people who were close to me in my life for thinking and knowing that I as a human being am worth more than $8 an hour or $11 an hour or anything like that. You are too. You're worth more than that as well. You're always worth more than you ever think. Trust me. And don't ever let anybody close to you shame you or make you feel like an arrogant asshole for knowing that you are worth an appropriate amount, okay? I hate this place. This is a new one for me. Thank you for applying on Indeed. I'd love to set up a time to talk with you this week. Please find a time on my calendar here. Also, to let you know, I am going to reject your application from Indeed. Don't let that worry you, though. We only do this so our company does not get charged for your application. Cool. A sushi restaurant in Oregon has to pay $375,000 after they were caught stealing wages from 11 workers and threatening to fire anyone who kept their cash tips. Nobody will go to jail for this, and the media doesn't give a shit. I like that. I like that a company, regardless of its size, can absolutely rob people blind. Absolutely rob them. And you can for sure trace that decision back to either one person or at least a small group of certain people, but they will never be punished for actual thievery. Isn't that great? I got fired. I dislocated my shoulder. 2 doctors told me it'd take 4 weeks to heal. I told my boss my progress every week, and he kept wishing my healing well. Come the 3rd week, I let him know I'm ready to come back next week, and he let me know he'd already replaced me. I feel so much anger for the work industry. I give them so much. A committed schedule, good personality, good service, conscientiousness, promptness, attention to detail, good and careful driving, good communication, etc. I get injured and no loyalty. Freaking replaced me while pretending I still had the job, only to let me know when I'm ready to come back. Duckin' bastards, man. People no longer believe working hard will lead to a better life, survey shows. What? Kindly look inward, dear landlords. The enemy is from within and not outside. My landlord wants to increase my rent from August by £150 due to also being affected by inflation as well as rate rise they can't afford to keep the rent at the same level. So I sent him this. No worries, thank you for letting me know. Please do tell the landlord that if she's struggling for more money, then perhaps she should get a real job and earn her own money instead of stealing mine. Regards, Florence. Okay? Yeah, isn't that great? Suck it! They fired my husband and have since come crawling back. Ooh, yes. We like that. My husband was fired from his job in January of 2021 after 10 plus years because we got COVID and he was down for the count for a month. 2 weeks ago, out of the blue, one of the higher-ups sent him a text asking him to reach out because she hadn't talked to him in a year. Yesterday, I found his old job being advertised for $5 more than what he was making when he was fired. This is the 3rd time since he was fired that I've seen it advertised. My husband was a construction manager. He took the job at 19, so he wasn't aware of the real value his work and position had. When he was fired, he was making $17 an hour. It's been a year and a half, and they're realizing they can't get anyone else to do that job for less than $30. I told him to reach back out out and tell them he'll come back, but not for less than $45 an hour. You damn straight. Coming from Forbes, how did the writer sneak this one in? The forced return to the office is the definition of insanity. After 5 consecutive quarters of declining productivity, CEOs must abandon the sinking ship of forced in-office work and embrace flexible work. Yeah, they won't. South Park's creators have eliminated tipping at Denver's famed Casa Bonita. Servers now make $30 an hour, and some are mad. Yeah, the wrong people are mad. The people that we don't give a rat's ass about are mad. That's who. But I'm sure that the people that are making $30 an hour starting as a server at Casa Bonita, not even to say for the people that work in the kitchen or janitorial, that's pretty goddamn great. Okay, I've been to Casa Bonita. I'm really, really glad that these two fine billionaires bought the place and really shined it up. I can't wait to go back and support the business and all the people that work there. These two have been just fantastic heroes to me my whole life. I love these two psychopaths with all my heart. Isn't it great, though, to see them actually doing something at least decent? At least decent? This is like the bare minimum that people with their level of money could do. They did it out of real, pure, unironic love for a place they grew up adoring, and then went, okay, well, the people that work here deserve to be paid at least well, which in Denver, $30 an hour may still not be enough. Denver's pretty pricey now, dude. But you know what? It's a lot better than it was before. Not sure what they were making before, but there was no way it was more than 15, all right? Regret bringing more slaves into the world. No lying. Did you regret having children? Yes. My son is 27, suffering from chronic depression in a low-paying dead-end job without the faintest idea of how to get out of it. His life is an unending continuum of unhappiness and dissatisfaction. If I knew that he would develop like this, I would not have had him. I would not want to bring a person into this world outside of his own volition. What? If I knew that he would experience no joy in his existence. I was under the impression that almost all living creatures had at least the capacity for joie de vivre. I can't read that. And I assumed that it would be so for my child as well. I'm sorry, son. I don't know what to do. Boss is upset that I have a second job. Okay? This is a rant more so than anything. So I just got a second job at a large retail store that provides me with enough hours to finally make ends meet. After my first paycheck, I finally paid off a fine and my car. But the boss at my first job, gas station, doesn't seem too happy. He was encouraging about getting another job and also provided a good reference. But suddenly last week he got upset. He said, "Will you still come in if we need a shift covered?" And I said, "No, probably not. I have a part-time contract of 10 hours and have been working there for over a year. I've never worked more than 15 hours a week. I'm a full-time student as well." He seemed pissed that I suddenly was not at his beck and call and said, "We expect you to be flexible." And I said I was, for a year, but you didn't give me enough hours. I'm unreasonably annoyed by this. It just pushed my buttons, okay? They just hired a casual too. He's lucky I didn't quit on the spot. I know that you need that job, but man, 15 hours a week, I feel like we could find that for you anywhere, man. Hell, even at Spirit Halloween when it opens, all right? Screw that douchebag. United States. I don't know why I read it like that. It just felt right. I don't know. $72.5 million class action settlement. When you control an employee's time, you must pay them. Home Depot, oh great company, has to pay $72 million for employees to stand around. That's correct, okay? Employees just standing around have to be paid. Yeah, I'm not even gonna read this because I know what it's about, okay? I remember, again, with the UPS store, I know I've talked about it a couple of times. I remember that new owner that I mentioned before that got rid of a bunch of stuff. Well, he actually called me one day and told me to throw away the chairs and stools in my store. Wasn't a busy store. He just didn't like me sitting the f*** down and wanted to make sure that I stood at the counter. There's really not much that I can do, okay? There's not much that everybody can do. That's a big thing with the unions, actually. When I worked for IATSE, not as a full member, I was never a full member of IATSE, but I was, what's the term? Regardless, I did work with them and for them a couple of times, and standing around, sometimes that's part of the job, and they know it, and they don't care. When you can't be doing something, you can't be doing something. And yeah, if you control an employee's time, which is what you are doing, you owe them money. Hey guys, just a thought. But how about instead of canceling celebrities for comments they made years ago, we start boycotting companies that want bachelor's degrees and 3 to 5 years of experience for $13 an hour entry-level jobs. You know what? We should start freaking out a little bit more about $13 being entry-level anywhere. $13 should be absolutely nowhere at all, okay? If it's not enough for a human being to live on, and I'm not counting part-time, I know part-time is different, I do understand that, but if you're working full-time and you can't afford a home, then no, that place does not deserve to be in business. Just move to a place you can afford. Here's a map of the United States, but it's only states where someone making $15 an hour can afford a 2-bedroom apartment, okay? And I know our good buddy Zach is from Arkansas, or at least, please for the love of God, tell me that's Arkansas and not something completely different. But yeah, look at that. Look at that right there. We've only got a few choices. 3, okay? And I know there are people out there that will look at this and go, 2 bedrooms? You don't need that, you selfish piece of shit. Okay, that's not the point. I'm a human being. And like me personally, I would need a 2nd bedroom. Why? Because I need an office to do my work. Oh, you can do that in your bedroom. Right now I do, okay? I do. I'm really, really sick and tired of people also trying to pull up the argument of, you don't need that much room, as if a 1-bedroom or a studio are any cheaper. Because I'm gonna blow your mind. A lot of the times, them being cheaper doesn't really pull much weight. Paris is drowning in trash because the bin men have gone on permanent strike against the retirement increase. Their energy bills are 50% of ours. They retire 6 years earlier. Their pension is 2 times higher. Yet, they'll still strike. Why are they better off? Because they strike. Yes, individually we beg. United, we bargain. All right? I fully support every strike across the world from every union and guild that I possibly can. Okay? I absolutely do, right? If I were a part of the Screen Actors Guild, which I have been trying to get into for years, I would absolutely be in Los Angeles with them right now on the streets. And that's the truth of the matter, okay? A lot of people like to poke fun at Ron Perlman or somebody else who's down there with them who are millionaires. Like, oh, they don't need to worry, they're millionaires. Okay, I get that. But they're there because of the 84% of members of that union that don't make enough money to qualify for healthcare. The actors and people that are a part of it that really are the ones that would be seriously hurt by everything that's going on. So just remember, unions are not the baddie boy guys. They're not the bad men, okay? Just don't fall for people telling you they're the bad guys. I've worked with unions, I've worked for unions, blah, blah, blah. They're great, okay? I had never been paid more in my life up until working with IATSE on a few stage gigs, okay? It blew my mind that they were able to do that. It was awesome. I loved it. And I don't have much more to say on the matter, but I'm union strong, even though I'm technically not actually a part of one. I will do whatever I can to support them. And you know what? UPS, I hope you guys strike too, because everybody deserves to be treated like a goddamn person. Everybody deserves to make enough money to own a home and have a family and eat and drink. Everybody deserves that, okay? And that's all there is to it. CFO sent me a thank you gift. Thank you for all your hard work. Gee, thank you for the dollar store gummy snacks.
Want my money.
Companies, we're committed to working towards a greener future. Also, companies, hi, I know your entire job can be done from your couch, but we really need you to go back to idling in traffic 10 times per week because Brian needs to time your bathroom breaks to feel alive. It's not about feeling alive, Janelle. It's about treating you like a little cog. They need to be able to control you at all times. I was an opener at a gym, and the only employee in the building from 5:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. 5 days a week. The manager position directly above me opened up, I applied, and I got it. After 2 weeks of working this position, I was introduced to the manager they hired for this role. Thought they hired you, though. They then said I was too valuable as the opener, and it's easier to fill the manager role than the former. The 80 hours I worked as manager were paid at $8.75 an hour instead of the 12 I was promised. If that's in writing, you can get that money. And the next Monday, I was scheduled back for opening and only 27 and a half hours. So needless to say, I quit. I never missed a day, did my job so well I was invaluable, and they still rug pulled me. What did they think was going to happen? Of course you were going to quit. Any normal person would say, "F y'all." Absolutely. Oops, now that position you claim was harder to fill anyway. Oh, well, now it's going to be even more difficult to fill. My boyfriend got fired for being sick for 1 day. Hey, I've either got or the flu, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be feeling good enough to work tomorrow. Thanks for letting me know. I really need a fourth guy for the week, so I'll reach out to some contractors. I hope you feel better soon. Yeah, hopefully I can get back to work for Tuesday. Feeling really crappy at the moment, though. We'll keep you posted. Sorry, man, I found someone to fill this week. Oh, damn. Okay. I'll see you next Monday then? No, I've got the new guy starting. We chat about this at the shop the other night. Wow. Sick for literally a day and instantaneously replaced. Well, hey, look, you dodged a bullet then. Giant f***ing bullet. Normalize naps at work. Or can we normalize working fewer hours so we can nap at home and live our goddamn lives? Yeah, I don't want to normalize napping at work. I would like to normalize working less. We should all be working less. Jesus. Employees that go the extra mile. Employees that do the bare minimum. Getting paid the exact same amount each pay period. Yeah, it's awesome. Former employer wants my password to the computer I used 6 months after terminating me. That's not your problem. I trust this message finds you well. Well, the message found me. I wouldn't say well. I'm reaching out to discuss a logistical matter related to the company laptop that was returned upon your departure. We're currently unable to perform a factory reset to prepare the laptop for the next user because there's still a password on it. We kindly request your assistance in providing the necessary information to reset the laptop to its factory settings. And this will involve sharing your password with us. Rest assured that any information provided will be treated with the utmost confidentiality and will only be used to reset the laptop. Nah, I forget. Sorry. Absolutely don't need a login password to factory reset a computer. No, you keep giving them new passwords each day. Try this one. Next day. That didn't work? Try this one. Repeat until they stop asking. Always wait a day between each response. This is a fabulous idea. As long as they are convincing enough, then you can keep it going. Eventually saying you can't remember. Nice idea. Drag them around a bit. Babysitting a child takes skill, requires patience, and understanding. I'm small. Now watch 30 of them. Now teach them math. You could never do what teachers do. Pay them more before they all quit. Yes, please. Do it. Yesterday. I heard of a guy who was fired from a company and had a grudge. So he wrote fake Indeed reviews that were unrealistically positive. Overly high salaries, absurd benefits, fancy perks. They had trouble hiring for years because candidates thought they were being lowballed. Well, they probably were anyway. Those pesky workers. Attention, due to national wage increase, beer prices have risen. Alright, I'm going to a different bar. You don't deserve a high wage for useless work like picking up garbage or making food. If you want to be highly compensated, you should do something valuable like sit in Zoom meetings all day. Yeah. If the minimum wage increased at the rate of productivity since 1960, it'd be $24 today, not $7.25. That means billionaires and corporations have stolen at least $17 an hour from working Americans for 60 years, an estimated $50 trillion. We don't suffer a lack of resources, but an excess of greed. Therapy doesn't solve being overworked and underpaid. Antidepressants can't cure poverty. Very, very true. How I sleep knowing I get paid just as much as the coworker who logs in on Sunday nights to prep for the week. Yeah, man, look, just don't put in all that extra effort. 99% of the time, the company isn't going to give a shit, and they're probably just going to continue to give you more work. Whereas the dude who's going to bed on Sunday night, well, he's getting paid the exact same. His prospects haven't changed. There's no need to prep for anything. That's what Monday mornings are for. Get a hobby. Seriously, people? Hi, Melody. I went through that ludicrously long interview process about 2 years ago, was declined an offer due to culture and having zero interest in wasting days of my valuable time again. If you want to extend a written offer based upon the interview process, I'll listen and consider it. I'm currently getting $40 an hour full-time with excellent benefits. Guess who just reached out to me again? Nope, we already did that. As y'all already know, and I ain't wasting my time again. It was a day process over the course of almost 2 weeks. Either make me an offer based upon what y'all already know or call someone else. I'm done playing. We should all be done playing. But we're a family. That promotion is coming, we swear. I'll let you borrow my boat. Strategic job hopper. Nah, screw you. When your employer doesn't give you a raise, so you give yourself a raise by working less for the same money. That's how it's done. 2030, 2%. The effective federal corporate income tax rate: 1950, 50%; 1990, 25%; 2020, 13%. Stop asking, but how will we pay for it? Restore the corporate tax rate. That is how we will pay for it. Countries and governments forcing people to focus on work rather than family. Population decline. Wonder why no one's having kids anymore, guys. Genuinely ready to quit. This was my bonus for making the company $85,000 in February. Nice. I would quit. I would quit. Seriously. Seems like you are worthless to them. Look at what they gave you. Like, are those dollar store earbuds, but half of the packaging is missing anyway? How do you as a manager or boss or any higher level employee anywhere how do you not feel like a complete goddamn joke of a person handing this to your employee, knowing full well what they've done? How do you go home and not feel like a goddamn clown? Job update. Boss is calling me to do work ASAP on the weekend of my sister's graduation, which she knows about, and I don't have my computer. They want it done now, but instead they're getting my resignation letter effective immediately. Yeah, good. No problem. What's your dream job? Why would I dream of labor? Where are you going? To rethink my life. You don't want the death sticks. You want to go home and rethink your life. Inflation benefits the rich. Well, no shit. Walmart hiked prices on its great value food brands. The company net income has spiked by 93% to $10.5+ billion in 9 months. Walmart rewarded shareholders with $5.9 billion in buybacks and dividends. Corporations are still using inflation as cover to price gouge you. Oh man, I can't wait. My manager left this note to HR about me in the printer. Feeling pretty Chad right now. On March 11th, 2024, I issue blank a write-up. He refused to sign it and stated if I'm going to get a write-up, then do it because I don't even want to see it at this point. He also stated I'm not going to do those duties, so might as well ask someone else to do them. I called HR to report the absorbance. I proceeded to walk across the street to blank to send the write-up to HR. As soon as I sat down, he called me to tell me he was sick from all the commotion and needed to leave. I asked him if he could at least stay for half an hour so I could call someone to cover his shift. He said no and left. I met him outside and he gave me the store keys and told me, "You guys really need to get your shit together." And then he took off on his bicycle. Man, this was written up by the manager? They can barely speak, apparently. The text I get from my boss while recovering from food poisoning. "Hi, after arriving home, I have been vomiting again. I'm very unpleasant to continue dealing with this. I will keep you posted if okay. Hi, the puking should subside, especially with the brat being followed. I know what it's like having dealt with it myself. We definitely need you at work. I really could not give less of a flying fuck what you have or have not dealt with. This is what's happening to me now. So, I don't care what you've been through. That's not exactly what I'm going through. You're a different person. I'm a different person. What I'm going through is not what you went through. I also didn't ask and don't care that you definitely need me at work." Making it to the final round of interviews and receiving this message. "Hi, I wanted to let you know that there's been a slight change in the job description. For us to be on the same page, I wanted you to know that the salary is up to $3,000 a month going forward. Is this okay with you? If not, I can keep you in our database for future reference. When we have an opening that is within your budget, I'll reach out to you. Please let me know what you think." The salary is up to $3,000 a month going forward? Did it go up or down? I'm confused here. To be clear, this is a position of a senior QA engineer, and the original offer was at $4,000 and up to $5,000 a month. Slight change. Oh, so they tried to use shitty language to make it seem as though they were raising it, even though you knew that's not what was happening. So, yeah, a slight change of $1,000 to $2,000 less. Nope. Sorry. Bye-bye. This dystopian corporate training for my job. You are no longer safe. Dude, I don't like those videos at all. I don't know what the context is around this particular frame, but if it's what I think it is, I would be getting up and walking away. Nope, I'm out of there, dude. Your lizard brain will try to hold you back. No, this can't be real, right? Thought the Antiwork crowd might enjoy these 2 shots of a corporate leadership learning module I was assigned that has almost nothing to do with my role or the company. Reminds me of a job at Discount Tire I applied for some years back that asked me like a 20-question survey that all related to fist fighting and if I would punch a customer. If the salary is so competitive, why don't you tell me what it is? From all job seekers. Well, look, we all know that We know that they're full of shit. We absolutely know that every company that says competitive salary is lying, and they're going to pay you as little as they legally can, which is what minimum wage is. Bernie is fighting for the 4-day work week in the Senate. You know what, Bernie? Good luck to you. It will never happen. I sent this to a prospective hire at work. All right. Hi, I'm blank, and I work at blank as a blank. We've never met, but I wanted to reach out as a courtesy. Just wanted you to know that this is a decent place to work, but you gotta set your boundaries with blank. Give him an inch, and he'll take a mile. For compensation, I'm making $31 an hour, and you're intended to take over my position. We've got another guy who's similar to you in experience who's currently making $28. Make of that as you will. Also, since I'm leaving in a couple of weeks, Blank is desperate to hire someone quickly so that I can give some training, so feel free to use that to your advantage. Good luck with your interview tomorrow, and feel free to reach out. Man, I wish this was possible for all of us to do for one another. Finally did it! I don't know if you can find anyone to cover for me, but it's 3 and I haven't had a 10 or a lunch yet. One moment. Okay. Hi, after yesterday's shift and numerous other incidents, including Blank constantly mistreating me, not receiving my breaks on time, and having been written up when you were aware of accusations made against me that were false, I will not be returning or giving you a formal 2 weeks. I quit. Yeah, a lot of companies need to remember that the 2 weeks is not a guarantee. You are not legally required to get that 2 weeks, and if you mistreat and underpay and just shit all over the employee, I genuinely hope they don't give you a courtesy and they just walk out the door. Because if you do all that crap, you do not deserve one. So scramble, bitch, I guess. Cover me or don't cover me. I'm taking my lunch now and it will be a long one. Man, I remember when I worked at Comcast, one of my favorite jobs of all time, whenever you changed shifts, because you could only get the chance to change a shift or move around once every 6 months or so in a weird, creepy frickin' lottery. Remember, they always asked, all right, do you want an hour lunch, a 30-minute lunch, or a 45-minute lunch? I'm like, why can't everybody just get an hour? Oh, right. I have to stay later if I take a longer lunch. Well, that's weird. Or you have to come in earlier, or I don't know. I just have never enjoyed the unpaid lunch period. It's stupid. Just fucking pay me, you multi-billion-dollar pieces of crap. No idea where to post. Left my boss 2 weeks ago. Thought I should at least show someone. Chicken shit. That was the most chicken way to quit I've seen in 20 years. Congrats on that dubious distinction, you pile of all talk garbage. You know, it's funny that people in his position get to do whatever they want. They get to say whatever the hell they want. This dude will keep his job. This dude will probably get a raise and just continue mistreating and shitting on people throughout his entire career. Please be advised, due to too many employees abusing the system, starting today, any employee calling in sick, such employee will not get paid for a sick day unless a doctor's note is presented when such employee returns to work. All right, good sentence structure. Any employee clocking in late after 8:01 a.m., 4 days out of each calendar month will automatically lose 1 sick day. I don't think that's legal. Any lost sick days due to being late will not be honored at year end. I don't think that's legal. Best regards, management. Cool. I'm gonna go work at literally anywhere else. Why does calling in sick feel like a crime? They definitely start programming us from primary school. Awards for 100% attendance, shamed for being sick. It's hella twisted. Yeah, isn't it awesome how being human is getting more and more against policy across the board everywhere on the planet in every aspect of our lives? I am not giving you a doctor's note. I will not do that. Screw you. Dollar General management with an inspiring message to staff. We do not sit at the register. This is Dollar General, not Aldi. I mean, I get it. That's funny. It's just pathetic. This is Dollar General. I'm gonna sit down. You can kiss my ass. My local Denny's has this sign in plain view. Denny's has only one size of juice, milk, milkshakes, smoothies. This means we do not bring in kid sizes for adults. It's pretty easy to figure out since they only have adult food, no adult size beverage, and no kid food. Then we add an AARP discount to this? Stop doing this. We are not here for this. We are here to make money for your store. Adults need to purchase adult-sized beverages, adult entrees, and adult-sized dishes or side dishes. Do you want money in your pocket? Then get your BATA up. Beverages, appetizers, desserts, and add-ons. The idea is to add to the check with these items so you have a higher check average. Stop giving our food and beverage away. No AARP, military, or BOGO discounts on 2468 or kid menu. Discounts are allowed on core menu only. BATA requirement is 150%. Check averages need to be $13. Let's all get back on track. I would rip that down. If they put it back up, I'd rip that one down again. Guys, This is a fucking Denny's. Steamboat Springs, Colorado can't fill a $167,000 a year job due to housing costs. Colorado Ski Town can't fill a job with a $167,000 salary because potential candidates can't afford to live there. Can you imagine? That's the salary you're being offered. And you're like, wow, that's not enough money. That's literally not enough money. Also, yeah, goddamn, any ski town out here in Colorado is going to be insanely stupid. Don't even bother. A worker making $50,000 a year contributes to Social Security on 100% of their income. A CEO making $20 million a year contributes to Social Security on less than 1% of their income. It's time to scrap the cap, and the truth eventually reveals itself. Imagine cutting employees and now paying to be an employee. Excuse me, what'd you just say? If you want to use the self-checkout lane at some Walmart stores, you might need to fork out $12.95 a month or $98 a year for a Walmart Plus subscription. That's because some Walmart stores are limiting some self-checkout lanes to Walmart Plus subscribers and drivers of its Sparks delivery service. Awesome. Oh, that's so cool. I did notice that Walmart in my area has locked contactless payment behind that paywall. They don't take contactless cards on their machines, but if you want to use your app and pay through that and leave, then you have to fork over the money for the subscription. It's absolutely insane. It's getting bad. HR, if they work 40 hours a week, you have to give them benefits. Big company, okay, they'll work 39. If they work 8 hours, you have to give them a half-hour lunch and intermittent breaks. 7 hours and 50 minutes it is. If they're employees, you have to pay for benefits. Let's staff through a temp service and wait so long to hire them they'll quit out of frustration. Son, why don't you have a house and 3 children yet, huh? Maybe if we stop drinking Starbucks, we can close the gap? All right, let's see. Baby boomers. All right. What the actual shit? Yeah, kind of crazy, right? Rich kid giving work advice. I love it when they do that. Get a job. Master your credit. Save your money. Live with your parents until you're 30. Buy new build light cosmetic value add multifamily duplex or fourplex real estate in your early 20s. Plain interior, exterior, landscaping, stabilize the... What are you freaking talking about? Steady 4 to 5% annual rent increases. Yeah, okay. Increase your income from job hopping every 2 to 3 years unless there's a good stock package. Max out your 401k and retirement accounts. Okay. All right, how much money does daddy have here, dude? Trust fund kid PDX. Well, at least you admit that you're a trust fund kid. But, man, maybe shut your dumb little mouth. They got you fighting a culture war to stop you fighting a class war. A thoughtful message from management. We are not on the same boat, but we are in the same storm. Some have yachts, some have canoes, and some are drowning. Just be kind and help when you can. Which one to use in the yacht? I know one to use in the yacht. If I saw that at work, by sheer coincidence, it would disappear while I was there. When there's a potential labor strike, the media always reports on the impact to the economy and not the hardship of workers. That's by design. Don't let the billionaire-funded media make workers the enemy of the working class. Support unions. I was definitely a supporter of SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild when they went on strike. Just kind of sucks to see what they've done for voice actors in their guild, which appears to be nothing. So that was really cool. If your job requires a college degree, you should be able to write off your student loan payments as a business expense, the way CEOs write off their private jets and yachts for their jobs, which require neither. Kroger requires full-time workers to have open availability. If you are a full-time associate, you have open availability. That is the protocol going forward. Well, I'm just telling you right now, I don't have open availability. If any associates can't agree with open availability and full-time status, then simply put it in writing that they wish to give up their full-time. No more sunrise syndrome. We have to schedule the needs of the business. Thanks. I don't really give a shit about the needs of the business. See, I work for you not because I care about the grocery store or, your Porsche. I work for the store because I have to pay my bills. Because in the society that we live in, if I don't have any money, I'll be put in prison or die under an expressway because I don't have a house. So, no, I don't give a crap about the business's needs. 20 years ago, working as a server, I lived in a corner one-bedroom apartment downtown with amazing water views for $700 a month. A similar apartment now is $3,600 a month, more than 5 times as much. As a lawyer at age 47, I'm unable to afford living in the apartment I did at age 27 while waiting tables. And some people will read that and go, that's normal. No, that's totally normal. It's fine. I love billionaires. I think they're awesome, and I hope that they like me, because someday it might mean that I'm going to be a billionaire. Yeah, being poor now just leads to being more poor later. Can't pay to clean your teeth? Next year, pay for a root canal. Can't pay for a new mattress? Next year, pay for back surgery. Can't pay to get that lump checked out? Next year, pay for stage 3 cancer. Poverty charges interest. Yeah, hooray. Oh man, Tay, you are always correct, man. Place I worked for a month. Team, there will be no request off in November. December, New Year. If you're planning to leave the store, put you 2 weeks notice in advance before those months and holidays. Okay. My manager sends me shit like this, but then scratches her head when she wonders why her turnover rate is, and I kid you not, 80%. Just a reminder, texting to say you're not coming into work is not a proper call-in and will be considered a no-call, no-show. Also, getting your own shift covered is required unless you have a doctor's note or are hospitalized. Nope. If you're a manager, that is literally explicitly your job. Maybe her turnover rate should be 100%. There's a guy I work with that says he lives the Sigma grind. He's 50 plus, works 14-hour days, and has for the past 30 years. His kids hate him, and his 4th wife just filed for divorce on Friday. But you get that lettuce, King. Yeah, it sounds like a great life. Boss wrote thief on my check. Quit. That's unless you have really good rapport and you're one of the few people in the world that has a fun boss where you're actually buddy-buddy at work or whatever and treat each other with respect, and this is just a funny joke, whatever. But if that's not the case, which I highly doubt it is, get the hell out of there, dude. Filed a wage theft report against my former employer. Was told he only pay... Oh, I see. Okay, I thought it was just like a regular paycheck that they wrote thief on. Was told he only paid 80% of what was owed, but I sucked it up. When I picked up the check at the Department of Labor, it said thief boldly written on the subject line. Super awkward, unfair, and embarrassing, especially with others witnessing it. Is there anything that can be done? Goddamn, I really hope there's something that can be done. Why do people like this guy get to do whatever they want with impunity? Nothing ever comes their way from this shit. Oh, so you think everyone should just be handed enough money to live? LOL, LMAO, yeah, Rafflemow, even, Rafflecopter. Yeah, I do believe that. We're all people, right? Last I checked.